They are the world's best motocross riders. Young, strong, and fearless. They're ready to begin on a quest for history. A 12-race journey for the AMA Championship. And it all starts now on Speed. Welcome to the 2009 Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship in sunny Southern California's Glen, Helen Raceway in San Bernardino. Hello everyone, Jason Wygant, joined by four-time AMA National Champion David Bailey. This is a race that is highly anticipated. The series opener. We haven't seen a race with this kind of atmospheres thus far in 2009.
I'm more excited about this outdoor season than I've been in a decade. And, you know, not just the talent, the tracks are changing, the format's changing. You know, they're going to have a little bit more time between motos. A lot of new things to anticipate, but, you know, the outdoors is just so different. The fans can move around more in a stadium. You're in your seat, cooler temperatures. The training doesn't come into play quite as much. The track doesn't change as much. Here, it's all different, and everyone is so raring to go. You can feel it out there.
And these fans have got a real treat on their hands because the field in this 450 class, it's deep. It's going to be great racing.
Yeah, you know, at the top, you got to look at Alessi. This is his hometown race. He was so strong here last year, chasing down James Stewart. No one else could get close. He was the closest, actually led some laps. He wants to win here. He's been second 3 times in a row. He's sick of that. Villapoto, though, is going to try to put a stop to it. He looks fast on that 450, coming off a pretty strong finish in the Supercross season. A good chase pack, probably led by Andrew Short, who's been the guy right there poised to get in there and try to win. But Chad Reed surprised us all this morning with the fastest lap in practice. He's made his outdoor statement already.
It's been a week of surprises for Chad Reed. About 8 days ago, we didn't know he'd even race this series. He's changed his mind, and he'll be with us all summer long in this Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Earlier today, we talked to Chad about why he decided to race this summer.
I feel like I'm here for the right reasons, and that's to be involved in the sport. You know, I do have the luxury of having a Supercross on contract, and I'm here because I want to be and support the sport and have fun racing on the weekends rather than be at home. So I think it's going to be fun.
Well, make no mistake about that, this series is hard. It's difficult. Chad Reed has admitted that in the past, but for whatever reason this year, he seems to want to put in that kind of hard work.
Yeah, and the practice session yesterday, I mean, he was having a blast out there. You could tell he was hopping through the sand. He looked so comfortable. He didn't care about what the lap time said. My question was, okay, he's having fun, he's refreshed, he wants to be back, but how much of a contender does he expect to be at round 1? He answered that this morning with the fastest time. So now I know he is here to win a championship.
Now, James Stewart, the defending champion of this series, will not compete in the whole series. So beyond Chad Reed, there are a lot of other riders that believe this title is up for grabs, and they might be the ones that can take it. So before we go racing, let's talk to some of our other top contenders.
I've always been a really consistent rider. I've been there throughout the whole season, had a lot of great races, but it's time for me to kick it into gear and to get some wins and to really elevate myself to another level because I've been so close but yet so far away in the last few seasons.
I think the biggest challenge, you know, that I faced this year is just being able to focus on myself and what I'm doing and not worry about anybody else but myself and going out there to race to the best that I can every single weekend.
My biggest challenge this year is probably just going to be, you know, being there on the start every time. And, you know, I know that I can be consistent. I know that I have the speed. It's just, you know, hitting those starts and just trying to stay out of trouble.
Lots of contenders. Should be great racing today, and we have a great racetrack also. For more on that, let's go to Aaron Bates with our progressive pre-race report.
Glen Helen is notorious for being hot and brutal, and so far it has definitely lived up to its expectations. This year they've made so many modifications to this track. In fact, it's the most modifications that they've ever made to any sort of track. They've lost some sections, they've gained some sections, and of course they're racing it in reverse this year. But the one thing that has stayed the same, of course, the Mount St. Helens jump, which is 200 feet in elevation, and then the Talladega first turn, which is the fastest and steepest first turn on the entire circuit. Lots of changes, but these riders are used to it. This track is actually used as one of the test tracks for all the Southern California-based factory riders. They're enjoying the new layout. They've commented on how well the track flows. It's hot, it's brutal, it's a new design, but no better way to kick off the 2009 season.
Thanks a lot, Aaron. We are looking forward to this. One heck of a racetrack and one heck of a field of contenders for this championship. And it all is about to get started. So stay tuned with us here on Speed. You never know what's going to happen in the opening round. And we're going to have Moto 1 highlights when we return. He's a 4-time AMA National Motocross Champion, but more than that, he's known as an icon in the sport. David Bailey didn't just win races and championships, he did it with style. A young Bailey watched video of other riders to perfect his technique. He hosted riding schools along with his father Gary, another former pro rider. He gained so much knowledge, his competitors started calling him the Little Professor. Unfortunately, an injury forced Bailey out of racing when he was still in his prime, but his competitive spirit could not be extinguished. 15 years after he hung up his motocross helmet, he became an Ironman champ. We welcome him back to our show. Well, on behalf of everyone here, it truly is an honor to be able to work with you, Dave, and basically we just welcome you back to TV show.
I'm excited. You know, I appreciate being back. I thought I was through, but, you know, I can't stay away. Motocross is too good. You know, it never gets old for me. Supercross gets a little bit kind of cookie cutter after a while. This is just freestyle all the way. I love the fans, love mingling, and the talent's running deep this year. I can't wait to see how all it shakes down.
Well, we've got proof of that. Let's get to the highlights of today's first moto of racing from Glen Helen. Well, perhaps no moment is as anticipated as the start of the first race of the year. There had to be a lot of jitters down there, David, as they waited for the 30-second car to go sideways and the gate to drop. And then the familiar number 800 of Mike Alessi, Lightning Mike, grabs the first whole shot of the year. Had to fight off the veteran Mike Brown, who was running around the outside on a KTM. But Alessi, as everyone expected, was the first leader of the new year.
And a pretty good start for Villapoto, but it took him a long time to try to get around Andrew Short as Josh Grant and Alessi were pulling away out front. Finally made the pass and started to apply a little bit of pressure. Alessi was looking really good out front. Started to pull away until he got literally stuck in this berm at the bottom of the... He didn't fall, he didn't stall it, but he did lose the lead to Josh Grant, who looked great for a while. I thought he was going to run away with this thing.
Once Villapoto got around the stuck Alessi, he put a little run toward Grant, but it didn't hold. Grant actually pulled back away from Villapoto and looked like he might win this first moto of the season. Villapoto regrouped. Meanwhile, Villapoto's teammate Tim Ferry got hit in the finger with a rock. You can see the blood dripping from his index finger, and he was out. Tough break for Tim Ferry. Also a tough break for Chad Reed, who was dealt a horrible start, had to come back and battle with Davey Millsaps to get into the top 5. Reed would make a mistake, Millsaps would get him back, Reed would repass Millsaps, and then focus on going after Millsaps' teammate Andrew Short. Then late in the race, Villapoto puts a charge and a pass on Josh Grant.
Grant was starting to slow down just a little bit. We're wondering what the problem might be, and he was trying to cover a line on Villapoto there on the inside and got a little sideways. Villapoto went by and put in a great lap as Reed was putting on a charge, getting around Andrew Short. That move wouldn't stick, though. Watch what happens here. He gets into the berm, can't hold it, goes wide, and Andrew jumps right back in there aggressively to get it back. And that's what we want to see from Andrew, some aggression. That's what he said he knows he needs to get a championship. But you can see Chad Reed was just relentless to try to get that position back, gets it. But as far back as he started, he was only able to get up to 4th as Villapoto is following in Carmichael's footsteps.
He wins his very first moto in the big class after 3 straight championships on a 250. Here are your first moto results. Grant holds on for second after losing his rear brake, so look for a rematch here in Moto 2. Alessi Reed Short in the top 5, Millsaps, Hahn, Brown, Hill, and Dan Reardon round out the top 10. Good run for Reardon, his first race in the U.S. on a 450. Now, it's all about the rider, of course, in this sport. They get the credit when they win the races, but certainly the bikes in any motorsport are super, super critical. And in motocross, it's very difficult to set up a bike considering how varied these racetracks can be. So we'll try to get inside the heads of the teams and the mechanics and the technicians and the team managers to see how they set these bikes up. We'll go down to the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota Yamaha pit and find out about the suspension setup and other changes to adapt the motocross bike to racing here at Glen Helen.
All right, so here at Glen Helen, some of the things that we have been messing with today is trying to get the front end to feel higher in the front because of the steep downhills. We went to a higher bar for Grant for today, and then we also trying to get the suspension to hold up enough but still work on the small bumps. So should be really good today, and that's, really suspension is a key thing, and the big downhills are the main issue here at Glen Helen.
It is going to be very tough out here at Glen Helen. These downhills are going to be rougher than ever, and Moto 2 is coming up, so don't go anywhere. Racing when we return.